for another Coffee with Kilroy, or what I sometimes call beverage in a book. By beverage, well, you know what that is. And the book today is a game book. It's a survival game book. It is a D66 Solo / co-op survival game book from Adam Mitchell. Now, Adam is somebody that I've corresponded with just on Facebook Messenger and the like over a period of months, now going on maybe a year now, as I started covering game books and war game books. And he popped up on the scene with he is an author of several different types of books and some just general novels, but he came out with a D66 system with general quarters here, and this is the first really war game book that I cover from him, and it's a D66 game book adventure. And basically what D66 is this is not, it's a choose your own adventure, but with the twist. The D66 is you're going to be rolling 2 6-sided dice and reading the numbers, use different colors and then read the numbers on what the result is. So you have either 11 or from 11 to 66 as far as some of the results, like you read the red, and if you read a red and white, you read the red, then the white, and you have like 1 and 5, so it'd be 15. And that's going to take you along this journey in this choose your own adventure. So it's not just I got 3 choices and I'll pick one of those. There's some randomness in this, and no 2 games of this or readings of this ever play the same or read the same. And it is, role-playing esque, right? And you're going to have characters or soldiers and skills and stuff that you're going to be able to pick up and use, or might be important later on in the mission or the adventure, what have you. And so there's quite a bit of role-playing and choose your own adventure and some chaos and some randomness, all wrapped up into a book. And General Quarters was dealing with a submarine. Then he came out with MIA, and it was a D88 survival game book. I think the D66 is really the core system here. But this was dealing with kind of going against drug cartels and being like a lone survivor, trying to get back to your base and survive a hostile environment. But he's also had other books in this genre. These are more war game books. He has iVirus and a follow-up to iVirus, which uses the same system, and even went into sci-fi with Fox Blaster. And through the course of this, he's inspired others. Brent Campbell with Holdout, which deals with a holdout of a Japanese soldier after World War II in the Philippines, and Brownwater Navy, which deals with Vietnam patrol boats. So, this D66 genre or system has, been an inspiration for others and definitely for fans to follow it. And so this one, Contact Front, is his latest iteration. And Adam, I think, is probably well known if you follow him on Facebook and some of his postings. He was struggling for a bit of time and still struggles. I think we all struggle on some things, but and was kind of getting away from writing and or these game books, and I'm glad to see him back. And I'll go over his designer notes at the end. He might go into some of that, but glad to see him back in the saddle and putting these out, because I find these very interesting. So this is Contact Front. You have here Adam is a former soldier, novelist, and game book designer based out of Shropshire in UK. He is also a creator of D66, 88, and Shump game book system used in his books. In this game right here, well, let me get a sip of coffee, because I'm going to do some reading today. Now, I will give you a disclaimer or caveat. I'm not going to be able to like page through all this because it is at its heart a choose your own adventure. So there's a lot of spoilers in here, and you do not want to. Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, and you don't want me to spoil it either. So you and your SAS unit were on a mission into the hills of Afghanistan to take out the leader of a terror cell who had kidnapped a British ambassador. But as you get to the township where the leader is based, you and your unit were ambushed, killing all but 2 of your team. What's worse, the leader escaped. Now you're taking fire. Within his compound, a rescue ORF force is en route, but they are 20 minutes away. Okay. Can you hold the compound and stay alive long enough to rescue to come, or will this be your final mission? Good luck in this survival game book. You and your partner are going to need it. Thank you for purchasing this book. 10% of the price of this book is being donated to Help for Heroes, the UK Armed Forces and Veterans Charity. Yes, Adam, I let him know that I picked this up and I was going to try to cover it. And he made a note, say, hey, make sure that you mention that 10% of each of these purchase of the price of these books is going to be donated to Help for Heroes. Okay. I picked this up off Amazon, where I picked up all his other books. So I don't know if there's other outlets for it, but I know you can find this on Amazon, and it's not that costly either. So for a relatively thick-sized book with a lot of content. So let's start looking at that content, shall we? This book uses next-gen D66 system. So the D66 system is evolving before our eyes. This is a 1 to 2 player co-op game. So that's something different too. The other ones have really been solo games, but this one now you're 2 SAS soldiers, so you can have 2 people play this. I wonder how that is if they branch out or if they have to stay in the same page. So we'll might have to find that out. Here's the acknowledgments here. Well, thank you, Adam. He most importantly to his amazing partner and fellow author, Samantha. Without you, the book would have driven me insane. Brent Campbell, who we mentioned, has been inspired by Adam's work. Me there, well, thank you, Adam. Didn't need to do that. Mike Lambo, and I've covered a lot of Lambo books. One of the, bastions of excellence in this limited hobby of wargame books or game books, but it's growing. It is growing. Thomas Van Hare covers some of his stuff. He's new to this, but his books are very well done. A lot of stuff in there. Historically accurate, researched. A lot of content in there, and very interesting gameplay. All his supporters. And my fellow authors of game books, of the Game Book Authors Guild Facebook group. So I need to look in there, and maybe I need to start seeing if I find some other books to cover. All right, here's the introduction. So here's your content. You're going to have introduction, how to play, mission log, quartermaster's store, mission brief, main game, gaming tables, spare mission log sheets, designer notes, and about the author. Okay, so here's your introduction. Tells you what D66 means and how you're going to use it, because at its heart, this is a game, all right? This is a novel and a game book and a war game book and whatever else you want to call it. Here is how to play. Here's the how to play the game and taking you through the different entries and what you roll for and the like. So you're going to kind of roll up a character, to have, or a soldier to have some attributes. Then you trooper and fate points, cover mechanic, loadout skills and how they work, inventory and finding other weapons. I mean, there's stuff that you're going to pick up or use or discard along the way, and so this is more of an interactive choose-your-own-adventure. This is quite a bit of role-playing, so RPG-type feel to it. Here's the overrun mechanic, So I can just tell you right now, this is the next gen. There's a little bit more here than in his previous iterations of this system. Turn-based combat. Here's a mission logs sheet. So this is where you're going to be keeping track of your players or your characters and some of their key attributes or equipment. And you got some notes here. And then here's the quartermaster store. So this is some of the weapons that you're going to have available. I mean, if this doesn't scream RPG, I don't know what does. Unless you've never played an RPG. Some more of that. And then you got the mission brief. So this is where you're getting ready to start. So you're going to have your mission brief. And then here's the main game. So you've got different sections this is going to go to. Agency intel table, and that's going to start you off on where you're heading. There's some pre-game condition table, and then this gets you to the agency intel. So now there's not much more I can probably show here, because once you get into the game, you're in the game. You're going to be reading paragraphs. There's going to be choices. There's going to be interaction based on your attributes or equipment and decisions, and you're off to the races. So I don't know if there's really much more I can actually show in here. There's some gaming tables in here. Here we go. But there's a lot of pages to go through the book. Okay, so I really don't, having not done this book yet, I just picked this up. I don't want to spoil anything in here that would spoil it, right? I mean, because this is a kind of choose your own adventure game book that you explore and discover as you go. Here's some extra log sheets. I'd probably make a copy of these when I play the game. I'm not going to write in the book or anything like that. So you can make copies of these, but here's some extra ones here if you do want to write in the book. Here's some of the game tables are in here as well, to as an extra resource to turn to if you don't want to be like paging through the book. And here's those design notes I was talking about. And he talks a little bit about the game book was a beast to ride and almost never came about. I had been in talks with a major wargaming company to produce a game book series for them, but for whatever reason that fizzled out. This book is the result of that endeavor, so I know he was working on a project with a publisher and a wargame publisher, and then came up with this. He says, MIA, that's that book I showed earlier, was criticized by some for having too many narratives and not enough gameplay. So I think he addressed that in this design to come a little bit more gameplay. Talks a little bit about changing the D66 system. Contact Front was originally penned as a D88 book, but upon completion, a lot of the sections were just window dressing and took away from the game itself, and so he moved it to a D66. The mission itself is based on several events and stories I heard during my time in the British Armed Forces, with certain key sections of the book taken directly from my time on operations. Although this book is now based on the SAS, it was originally penned as a rifle regiment, my old regiment mission. So that's interesting. So we've got some real-world experience here that we can see how it plays out on these pages. Just like in real combat, the tide of enemy contact can change in an instant. The pull from the tower mechanic introduced in this book was my way of depicting this in a way that shows that enemies push and often abrupt actions. So this is really a small unit tactical or an SUT type game where you're getting into into the thick of it, into the up close and personal aspect of combat. And what are the tactics and situations that surround that. So that's an interesting aspect there. And again, 10% of the sales for each copy of this book will be donated to the Help the Heroes, the UK Armed Forces and Military Veterans Charity. So know that. So, heck, the book's not that expensive. Pick it up, and at least you've got a tax deduction, right? You got 10% going off to charity. So what's wrong with that? Anyway, there you have it. This is a Contact Front. Want to thank Adam for the kind words in the acknowledgement. Thank him for coming back and keeping this series alive, keep his designs up. I enjoy them. Other people are inspired by them. You know, your mileage may vary. But as game books go, I like that this plays in a different space. It's got the choose your own adventure, it's got the role play, but it also has some of the randomness of this system that adds to the chaos of combat and the unknowns. And it adds to replayability. You know, from a gamer perspective, it adds a lot to replayability. So there's not just one solid track that goes through all these games. Or one optimal path. I mean, it changes up and you have to react to it, which I think, you know, adds chaos, but it adds maybe a little bit of feel of realism of how do you react in some of these situations. But anyway, that's me. Again, your mileage may vary. Thank you so much for stopping by today, having a cup of coffee with me or tea or whatever beverage that you like or prefer. And the best way I know you stopped by is dropping a comment. Let me know what you think about this game book, about any of the other D66 or D88 game books from Adam Mitchell, or any other of Adam Mitchell's books. I've covered quite a bit of his stuff in some of his different formats. He's got some novel or some journaling type books as well. I've covered a few of those. Or Brent Campbell's book, you know, that were inspired by the D66 system. It's all fair game. Or if you don't want to if you want to talk about game books in general or war game books in general, you know, all the other inspirations that Adam mentioned in here from other game book designers, it's all good. That's what this space is for, or my content when I try to pull one of these out is to spark a discussion and thoughts about what do you think. And you don't have to like it. If you don't like these books, that's fine. If you want to share why, that's fine too. But if you do like him, or if you do find him interesting, or if you wanted to try him, then, you know, love to hear your comments on that as well. Anyway, just keep it civil and have a good day. Thanks for watching.